don't miss an episode, subscribe to Let's Knit Together on YouTube. Click the link in the sidebar to get to our YouTube channel subscribe button.
How are you doing? We haven't seen you in a while.
I'm great. I'm happy to see you. We were talking earlier. The last time I was on the show was 2007, which is 3 years ago. So I'm happy to see you guys here at TNNA.
Well, you've been busy since then. What have you been working on?
Well, goodness, that was when The Secret Language of Knitters came out, which was a humor book. That book has come out on audio. Then I did a crochet version called Hooked for Life, Adventures of a Crochet Zealot, to do for crocheters what Secret Language did for knitters. And then I started the Hooked for Life publishing pattern line, which is behind me. That's a lot of crochet, but also some knitting and some combination. We have a very popular pattern that has knitting and crocheting together, so that's kind of cool. And a booklet on Afghans that look like crocheted quilts came out from Leisure Arts in 2009, and the follow-up book of pillows is coming out March 1st of 2011. So I've been busy.
So the Afghan book actually comes with a CD to go along with it. That's kind of interesting. How did you come up with that idea?
Originally what I had wanted was cardboard templates so that people could have a 3D representation of the quilt blocks and they could rearrange them and make their own thing. Oh. And then when we tried to test that, they kept falling out of the book. So they came back to me and said, would you be interested in collaborating on this CD-ROM instead of the paper templates, because it would be so much neater.
Just move them around on the screen?
Right, so that's what we do. You can move them around on the screen. So you can do one of the 8, I keep messing with my hair, I'm sorry. So we came up with the idea to do the CD-ROM so that you can move the pieces that I have taught you how to make. You can use one of the 8 layouts that's in the booklet, but you could also rearrange and do whatever you want, print it out, take it to your yarn store, and purchase yarn, because you'll know how much you need.
That's a great idea.
Well, thank you. I was very excited about it, and one of the things I've been loving, a lot of crocheters have been sending me copies of the layouts that they have designed.
Oh.
So I'll open my email and there'll be a layout and say, look what I did with your CD. Isn't that cool?
That's really neat.
And it is cool. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, so why did you go back to crochet?
There is a move in the fiber industry towards contemporary crochet, to get away from granny square jackets, to get away from bulky garments, to get away from things that have no fitting or shape. And there are crochet designers out there serving the independent market, but there are not a lot of them that are crochet first and foremost, or, there's knitters who crochet. And I'm really a 50-50 kind of girl. I enjoy knitting, I enjoy crocheting, and I like to design in both. So my goal was to put out contemporary crochet patterns. Classic shapes, lighter weight yarns, more fitting, things that you could actually get some wear out of. So I don't ever want to say not your grandmother's crochet, because I think what we have now is a descendant of our grandmother's crochet, and we should honor that. Mm-hmm. So I never want to diss grandma, but I don't want to wear the same sweater she wore.
Right.
So what I'm really enjoying is playing with more yarns, more fibers, lighter weights, and getting either a more fitted or different silhouettes than we're used to seeing.
So are these examples here of some of the designs?
Yes, this is called the Lush Life Vest. This was in the TNNA fashion show on Friday night. And thank you, I was very excited. It was my first piece in the fashion show. And this is made in a fingering weight yarn from Anzula Luxury Fibers that is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, so it doesn't felt. And the construction is interesting. The piece that goes around here is made first, and then you start at each edge and work around where it meets in the back, and you can do a seam. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you can do short rows in crochet. This is crocheted short rows.
To get the shape, right.
So we get an A-line shape in a very flowing yarn because of what it's made of. And so it's a very flattering piece to a lot of figures, because it kind of, well, for me at least, it glides over the treble parts.
Right. One of the interesting things about crochet is that for years we struggled with getting patterns that were fitted, but also that they weren't too thick. How did you deal with that?
To get a finer fabric, it is really about the gauge of the yarn and the size of the hook. A lot of times you will pick up a skein of yarn at the store and it will say, for example, that is for a size 8 knitting needle. That's the recommended gauge. You want to go up at least one hook size because you need the room for the hook to go through the fabric. If you try and crochet at the same gauge that you would knit that same yarn, you're going to get a dense piece of fabric. So two things will do it. One is this is a USG hook in a fingering weight yarn, which is kind of big for fingering, but it gives me enough density, but it floats over the body. It's not going to stand there like a triangular rock.
So it allows for more drape.
Yes, it absolutely allows for more drape. Sometimes you can go to a very large hook on a fine yarn and get a very open work piece. This, if you can see it on the pattern, it kind of does a funnel shape so that it's a little fitted in the neck and gives you a little more coverage over the shoulders, and it will fit basically any size person. But we were talking about gauge earlier. This particular piece is started with a 6.5 millimeter hook. And every couple of rows, I stepped down my hook size. So what you're seeing here is how the exact same stitch works in all different gauges. So this is the 6.5, and then it goes to a 6 and a 5, and it steps down. I did do some actual stitch decreasing up here. But two things happen. One is you can see how one stitch pattern changes depending on what hook you use. And the other thing, you can kind of control what you're doing, and it's very simple. You don't have to recount, you don't have to decrease up again until you get to the bitter end. Right. You don't have to decrease or increase to get a fit. You can actually use the hook size, and you can do the same thing in knitting, but you can change the gauge of your fabric by changing not the stitch count but the size needle that you use, and you can really control the shaping.
So you can have a really simple pattern but still have shaping because you're changing the hook size, right?
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be brain death. You don't have to be doing short row shaping all the time. You don't have to be doing fully fashioned decreases all the time. Sometimes you just using a different hook or a different needle will get you just enough change that you need. And it can show you how the fabric is different at different, right. I mean, even feel that's a lot more stiff than that is.
It's a very luxurious yarn. What is it?
Thank you. This is from Alpaca with a Twist, and it's called Baby Twist. And this is the Jumbo Hank Sew One Skein.
It's gorgeous, really pretty.
Thank you so much. It's my newest piece.
Our next live show is Saturday, July 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Join us to share your latest projects. Go to letsknittogether.com/live for complete details on how to participate. Sometimes on the show, we've had projects or garments that I've designed myself. I have a designer's page on Ravelry where you can find some of them. It includes the pattern for my ruffled shawl that many people ask about and my original sock pattern design. There's a button in the sidebar at letsknittogether.com that will take you right to my designer's page on Ravelry. More of my designs will be available soon, so keep checking back. In episode 97, we asked you all to comment on what you like to knit during the summer months. My favorites are lace scarves and shawls, like this Multnoma shawl, which I knitted with my hand-spun bamboo from FiberLady. And now, the winner of the beautiful squishy Sockalicious collage yarn is Linda D. And since I shipped it to you 2 weeks ago, you already have it. You can find me on Twitter, Plurk, and Ravelry as Let's Knit Together. You can join our Facebook page at facebook.com/letsknittogether. And you can email me at cat@letsknittogether.com.
Remember when we started the show, right? And we were trying to figure out how to number the episodes?
Yeah.
And I said, we should have 3 digits in the number, right?
That's
Remember
right.
when I said that?
I have to go back and change them all.
Yeah. Okay, so what show is this?
This is 99.
And you wanted 2 digits, and